Sliding into your screen is not just any coffee can, it's a Roastar coffee can. Don't need thousands, personalize just one in Roastar's Design Lab. No design experience needed. Choose a pattern, add your logo and text, or create something memorable with AI. Being made in the Midwest, you can expect it on your doorstep in no time. Now that was smooth.
Hey everyone, good morning, and welcome to the Coffee People Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Woldt. I recently spent a long weekend in Houston, Texas at the Specialty Coffee Association Expo. I had lots of coffee there. It's an annual convention that draws guests from all over the world, and our presenting sponsors at Roastar invited me to join them in their convention floor booth. My collaborator on Nick and Ryan Drink Coffee, Nick Schmidt, curated some excellent interviewees to help us launch Season 14. Yes, you heard that right. Season 14. I honestly don't believe it either. If you're watching this show on Apple, Spotify, or one of the other big podcasting sites, thank you. And know that you can see all of our SCA interviews on our YouTube channel at Roast West Coast Podcasts. That link is in the bio, and we dropped all of those shows at once. If you're watching there on YouTube already, thank you so much. We are trying to grow that channel. The link to our newsletter, roastwestcoast.com, and to roastar.com, and to the websites of our special show guests at SCA can be found in the notes wherever you're watching or listening to this episode. It's probably right there below. Thanks for clicking through those. It actually helps us know if people are listening and paying attention. And now, I hope that you, like me, have a dang good cup of coffee at the ready, because it's time for another Coffee People podcast. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Brigid.
Nice to meet you, Brigid.
Nice to meet you.
Would you mind telling our Coffee People audience, welcome to the Coffee People podcast, that's part of my job now, what's the name of your coffee company and where you're located and what you do there?
Yeah, we are Orgullo Coffee Company. I, myself, Brigid, and my husband, Marco, own the Orgullo. And what we solely focus on, right here, we solely focus on Honduran coffee, and we're based out of Austin, Texas.
Oh, awesome. But you started in New York, right?
We did start in New York. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I actually met my husband in New York while we were in college. And yeah, we started in New York after the pandemic. Well, I guess it was like 2022, so it's like the fake time after the pandemic, or kind of like that window of time, between shutdown and like
reality.
Before. Exactly, yeah, the new reality. Yeah, and then within like a year, we were in Austin, so we brought the company with us. It started as a side hustle. We really love coffee. Marco's mom would actually bring us Honduran coffee all the time whenever she came to visit us. And
that was my question, was why the focus on Honduran?
Yeah, and we've had a lot of different coffees, but one thing that we found was we weren't able to find Honduran-focused coffee. So it was very hard to find Honduran-only coffees, whether it was single origin or blends. We were able to find, obviously, the other origins and other popular coffees, but we were like, where can we find Honduran coffee in the U.S.? And that was like the start of the problem we were trying to fix, which was how can we bring Honduran coffee to everyday coffee drinkers? So we're like, let's do something about it and start our own company.
Sure. You said your husband's name is Marco. Just want to make sure that hi Marco.
Hi Marco.
And if you wouldn't mind telling me one more time, how do I pronounce the name of the company?
So the pronunciation is Orgullo.
Orgullo.
Yes.
All right, I think I got that.
So the double L makes that Y sound.
Perfect.
That's usually...
You mentioned that your mother-in-law was bringing Honduran coffee. Marco is Honduras. You guys start this company, and this is a question I ask a lot of people, a lot of small businesses in particular. What made you think you could work together? Because it sounds like you were both doing your own thing.
Yeah, it's funny because like probably like after we moved in together, we would talk about like, Marco's always wanted to be, has always had the entrepreneur itch. He's worked in the corporate world, but he, always wanted to look to see if there was something that he could do where he can own his own business, be his own boss. And we would talk about it with friends and we would say like, oh, we would never work together. And now years later, we're working together. And I think it actually happened during the pandemic. We actually both had to obviously work remote from home together, and he saw how I worked, I saw how he worked. We kind of were impressed by each other a little bit, kind of yin and yang. We're very different. I think that's what helps. We work very differently, and then we were just thinking like, you know what, let's do this together. Let's take your strengths, let's take his strengths and put them together to create this.
That's kind of an interesting comment you just made about impressed by each other.
Yeah.
Because you don't always see your partner at their career, right?
Yeah.
You don't realize like, oh, they're friggin' good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like, how do I tap into that at home sometimes? Honduras' place in coffee, you mentioned you had trouble finding Honduran coffee. Why do you think that is?
I think it has to do with like a combination of things. I think it's just very underrated in the coffee world. I think it's kind of like the player that, is really consistent, really good, but no one really thinks of for some reason. It actually gets mixed into a lot of different blends and a lot of different coffees that we drink every day. Like the one thing that we've noticed or that we tell customers is that you probably have had Honduran coffee, but didn't realize there was Honduran coffee in that blend. Sometimes it's not called out, or sometimes it is, but you see like the other countries first. So that was like something that, sometimes we didn't know why, but we were just like, let's see what we can do to help fix that.
Sure. I know that you guys are a relatively new company, but you're roasting at a collective, I believe, or like a shared space.
Yeah.
What has that experience been like, and why is that of value to what you guys are doing?
It's been super helpful because, as you can probably imagine, equipment's really expensive. And also,
I don't have to imagine. I can just walk around and look at the numbers.
That's true, yeah, exactly. It kind of all adds up, and, what we've noticed is that we didn't know a lot about coffee when we were coming into this, and we were learning, we were trying to figure out different things, and then we found this collective when we came to Austin, and we noticed that, they can train people. They don't just do toll roasting, which is when you can hire somebody to roast your coffee to the profile that you want, but we were just kind of like, if we really want to dig deep into like knowing the origin, knowing the coffee itself, we got to be able to roast it as well. So we kind of took that step to learn how to roast coffee, and the place of where the collective was offered training. So we started on the ARC 800 doing 700 gram batches, which is very small if you think about the very small batches. And then we've graduated to the Mill City, which we do around 10 to 15 pound batches now. And then I wouldn't be surprised later this year if we had to graduate to a bigger machine, because we're starting to see that we're doing more batches of the same coffee, so it's probably more efficient for us to do a bigger machine, a bigger load. So we're probably going to have to be trained on a bigger machine eventually, but it's been really great to like be in one place and be like, okay, we don't need to use the little machine anymore. We can use the medium size, and then when we're outgrow the medium, there's a larger one. So it helps tremendously with costs, and it helps tremendously ask other roasters if they happen to be there roasting as well, or they're there doing production, like, hey, I noticed this, what do you do in this situation? Or they ask us questions. So it's been really great to like work off of like, if they had the same issues that we've had, or if we've had the same issues they had. So that it's been really great for that as well.
Sure. Not to call it Austin, I was just there the other day. How do you survive driving? And I say that having lived in New York.
It's funny. It's so weird because like even though I'm from New York City, I drove a lot. Actually, when I was in Brooklyn, when we moved to Queens, that's when I was just like, I don't need a car anymore, because like I was so close to the subway. But I don't know. I think it's just like being quick on your toes about, when people are being, excuse my language, jerks on the road. But yeah, like a lot of times, like people just don't know how to drive. It's ridiculous.
I've never been anywhere that felt so lawless on the road.
Things are flying out the trunks and
it's crazy. Twice people were driving at me on a one-way road, and I went, wait, am I going the wrong way? But I was going the right way.
It's like a universal thing. It's like if there's no sign, it's a two-way.
Yeah,
basically.
it's a two-way.
You just move over for the car to get through, and then you get through.
Got it. I'll remember that on my way back. You mentioned graduating potentially later this year. What's the future hold for Orgullo?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. I think so. We're in a unique position where we started Orgullo as like in New York, and even when we moved to Austin, it started as a side hustle, and it's now graduated to this full-time gig. Like we're both now full-time in the business. Wow. I recently quit my corporate job. I want to say last month. Thank you. To do this full time, so it's been very exciting. And what we're trying to push is, so right now we just do e-commerce, which is great, and then we also do retail and wholesale. We do a farmer's market every Saturday. Where our future holds is we're trying to double down and grow more in the e-commerce space. We're trying to grow also in our wholesale space. We started a coffee gifting program for whether you do corporate events or if you do weddings. We started doing that as another funnel, as another way to share Honduran coffee in a fun way, whether you're at a wedding or corporate gifting or something like that. But we're hoping to continue to grow and hoping to continue to bring Honduran coffee to everyday coffee drinkers.
Very cool. I think you're right in the growth period right now, and the learning period. It's all overwhelming.
Yes.
Any advice for somebody thinking about making a leap from their corporate job or starting a side hustle? Anything that you could share that might help them along.
My advice is to ask, I guess like a couple of things related to each other, is to like really be curious and ask a lot of questions. That's something that Marco's really good at. He asks a lot of questions, and I've had to learn to ask more questions. Narrow down your story, whether it's coffee or if you're going to another industry, find your reason why and try to if you're solving a problem or you're trying to make something better, really narrow that down, because your niche is what's going to make you stand out. As you can tell, we're at a coffee convention where there's so many different coffees, the consumer has so much to choose from. What makes yours different from everyone else? So narrowing down that story. And then I guess my last piece of advice is just to go for it. You will never get to a point where everything is perfect, everything aligns, everything, you'll never get to that point. Just go for it and just do it and see where the cards land, and then make adjustments from there.
My therapist has a term for that. It's analysis paralysis. When you're so focused on getting all those details right that you actually don't make the move.
Yeah.
So you got to overcome that. Yeah. How can people find you? How can they support you? Where do they go?
Yeah, so you can go to orgullocoffee.com. You can also go to our Instagram, our Facebook page at Orgullo Coffee. Give us a follow, a like, DM us if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts on Honduran coffee. I love talking to fellow coffee drinkers and talking about Honduran coffee or whatever coffee you like. But yeah, find us online and on our website.
Very cool. Brigid, thank you for joining Coffee People.
Thank you so much.
But since you're here, I'm hoping you can walk me through this coffee bag, Roastar coffee bag, obviously, by Roastar. Why does it look like this? Where did this design come from? What's the thought process?
So there's a lot of different design elements that we want to include. Number one, we wanted to have a design that included a lot of the mountains that you see in Honduras. If you ever go to Honduras or any Central or South American country, there's a lot of mountains, and that's where a lot of this coffee is grown. So we wanted to represent that in the design itself. You even see it here. One thing we did was a little nugget or Easter egg. This is actually the Honduran flag that we want to incorporate. And then we have the birds that are also very popular in Honduras as well. We want to represent that. And then one thing that we have on the back is these are the houses, the little houses that you see in the small towns, especially where a lot of the coffee is grown, the community, and then the MM initials are actually represent Marco's great-grandfather, Mariano Mercadal, and he was actually a coffee farmer. And we didn't know he was a coffee farmer until we started this project. So that was
crazy.
a very interesting tidbit. But yeah, we wanted to also include the pronunciation of our, pronunciation, because as you know, it's not the most common word, so we have it twice. We have it here as a way to show like how to pronounce Orgullo. We have it on the back as well. A little bit about our story. We love calling out that we started in our NYC apartment, and this is where we are today, just to kind of still speak to those roots. And then we want to make sure, especially on our label as well, included with the bag, that's why we have like a nice open space here, is that we wanted to like just highlight like this is Honduran coffee. You walk past it and you know you're getting Honduran coffee. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brigid. I appreciate the walk through the bag.
Thank you.
Sliding into your screen is not just any coffee bag. It's a Roastar coffee bag. Don't need thousands. Personalized just 25 in Roastar's Design Lab. No design experience needed. Choose a pattern, add your logo and text, or create something memorable with AI. Being made in the Midwest, you can expect it on your doorstep in no time. Now that was smooth.